healthcare, progress is rarely achieved in isolation. It is built through collaboration between science, policy, industry, and people. Namaste and welcome to the Pharma Frontiers by OPPI. I am Asavari Sataye, your host. As OPPI completes 60 years, this season explores the power of partnerships and how collaboration continues to shape the future of healthcare in India. Joining me today is a leader who brings deep industry experience, global perspective, and a strong commitment to strengthening healthcare ecosystems. Please welcome Mr. Amitabh Dube, President-elect OPPI and Managing Director, Novartis Healthcare Private Limited. Amitabh, thank you so much for joining us today. You've had close to 3 decades of experience in the pharmaceutical industry across various roles, functions, and geographies as well. How would you define your leadership journey, and what would be the defining moments within that entire journey?
First of all, thank you, Asavari, for having me at this Pharma Frontier podcast by OPPI. It's a pleasure and honor to be here and speaking to you. As I start reflecting on my journey, I realize that it's never been a straight line. And I didn't come in to pharma like a written playbook. I wanted to pursue medicine, and I was very much attracted towards science. And that culminated in me moving into a pharma job. But right from the beginning, when I started my career in '94, I was into oncology and gastroenterology space. And the medicines that I was promoting made such an impact in patients' lives that remained a powerful anchor for me throughout my 32 years of journey. That still drives me today of the impact we can bring into patients' lives. When I look at my early part of my journey, there were basically 3 principles which I've always followed in my leadership. The first one was that you need to be a bit uncomfortable if you need to drive growth. And I always have believed that growth doesn't come if you are sitting in your comfort zone. Growth always comes when you are a bit uncomfortable. And I have experienced roles starting from sales, moving into corporate affairs, regulatory affairs, setting up a distribution for the organization, building up markets outside of India, and even experiencing various cultures. And when you move across to uncomfortable roles, you start developing and growing yourself as a leader. The second mantra which I've always followed in the leadership is never let your curiosity go down.
Very nice.
Curiosity has been the second element for driving growth. Whether it was with regards to culture, it was regards to innovative products, it was regarding to providing access, environment, it was regard to working in various markets. Curiosity was one of the elements which fueled our growth. We are curious to ask our teams various questions. We are curious to provide solutions to patients. We are curious. As long as we are curious, we will be growing as a leaders in our organization. And the third mantra which I've always followed is you need to have a strong listening capability, providing clarity, and also anchoring your organization around the purpose that you stand for. It's not the smartest person. You don't have to be the smartest person in the boardroom. You need to be a person who can listen and connect the dots, who should be a person who should guide the organization with the clarity and anchor the organization and the stakeholders around the purpose. And that is what the leadership today is all about. You need to drive around the purpose, providing clarity. These are the few things which I've always stuck to. As industry moves towards breakthrough innovation, I always believe that as leaders we need to be adaptable, grounded to our purpose, and also focused on enabling teams. If you have got a strong enabled teams, you can do wonders.
Fantastic. Amitabh, moving to the theme that OPPI has for this year, as all our viewers also know, we are completing 60 years in the industry. Power of partnerships is the theme that we have for this year. That's really binding, and how over the past 60 years, that's really driven the purpose for OPPI. So how does that theme resonate with you?
So first of all, I just wanted to congratulate OPPI. I mean, 60 years is a big time, and being relevant in a country for 60 continuous years as an
Absolutely.
association is fantastic. And I really wanted to congratulate OPPI for it. The power of partnership is the exact story of how healthcare is going to transform and has been transforming over a period of years. When you look at OPPI over the last 6 decades, we have always been focused with patient-first mindset.
Right.
And that is there to
Absolutely.
drive innovation, access, and all this with ethics. And these are 3 principles that OPPI always stood for. And when you look at our power of partnerships, whether it's with the policymakers, we have always partnered to drive the ecosystem towards either innovation, to get newer medicines or medicines which have an impact in the healthcare in the country, or to drive access. When you look at the partnerships across healthcare providers, again the intent has been to provide better medicines faster and quicker to the diaspora in the country. Look at partnerships across academia. We have been partnering as OPPI across various academias over the years to drive efficiency, growth, and build up the talents for the future. We have been partnering with access and insurance providers to sharpen the access scenario, because in India, an innovation can only benefit if you provide access to the vast population. So when you look at our goal for moving forward, the power of partnerships is what's going to drive the change in the ecosystem, is going to be the anchoring mantra for OPPI. Because if we are able to partner with the right stakeholders across the ecosystem, whether it's the doctors, it's the patient groups, it's policymakers, it's regulators, it's insurance providers, we are going to transform the ecosystem to a healthier India. And a healthier India will go faster and will be a more prosperous India for future.
Amitabh, you spoke about partnerships. Given the theme that we have this year, which is Power of Partnerships, how do you see OPPI's role as a collaborator or as an active partner with any of these key stakeholders?
At its core, OPPI plays a very constructive role as a partner to the government, bringing together the global scientific expertise and industry insights to support the evolving healthcare needs of the country. As a representative of a research-based pharmaceutical companies, OPPI contributes in the policy dialogue, providing evidence-based recommendations to shape the evolving innovative healthcare needs of the country, and also drive the systemic changes required in the ecosystem. Our engagement as OPPI with the policy stakeholders has just not been an occasional dialogue. It's a continuous. We have been working constantly with the government, whether it's in the way of consultation on regulatory reforms, IP reforms, or supporting for a faster, more efficient regulatory pathways that we can have in India. The objective has always been twofold.
Right.
The first one is to align India with the highest global standards, and the second one, staying laser focused on our local healthcare priorities in India, so that the patients get access faster to the innovative treatments across the world. Importantly, OPPI role extends beyond policy advocacy. We actively participate as an association in multiple stakeholder platforms, support capacity building initiatives, and also contribute to public healthcare priorities through knowledge sharing and others. Partnerships have played a very important role here.
Absolutely.
And that collaborative approach has really helped us to drive the transformative approach that we are seeing currently in the ecosystem.
Let's take a wider lens for now. One from an India perspective and second from a global perspective. We understand that Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, has set a very clear objective of Viksit Bharat 2047. Now, from a pharma industry point of view, how do you see the industry evolving to, one, achieve this objective, but what would be the growth drivers to that as well?
Thank you for the question. I'm very passionate about this topic to drive transformative growth in India, which is aligned to the Prime Minister's vision of Viksit Bharat. When you look at the growth of the pharma industry, Asavri, today we are roughly a $50 billion pharma industry in India, and we expect this to become 450 billion by 2047. This growth will only be driven if we have a transformative approach. If we continue doing the same things that we have been doing in the past, we will not be able to drive this growth. And I believe that there are three critical factors which are going to be extremely important to drive this transformative growth. The first one is going to be that we need to move from manufacture in India to innovate in India.
Right.
That's going to be extremely, extremely important. And I look forward from the government's support in innovating in India. And for that, we have to increase the R&D spend. When you look at global MNCs, they spend 50 to 20%. We spend 15 to 20% of our revenue into our research.
Right.
And we have to improve the investments into research to that scale. That followed by CapEx investment into R&D by the government. And also ensuring that we provide an innovative ecosystem around where innovations are well protected to drive the innovative environment in the country.
Absolutely.
The second one is going to be that there has to be a strong bridge between the industry and academia. In a lot of Western markets, a lot of innovation comes out of academia. And in India, if we really want to be that vision of 2047, we need academia to churn out the world-class talents that we require, be hardcore into innovative researches, have that environment for research and development, create that ecosystem in the academia that fuels in the innovative growth that the country looks for. And the third most important element which will drive this vision of 2047 is around access. Innovation can only result in significant growth in the country if it's accessible to a wider population across the country. And in India, we need to create an ecosystem, whether it's through universal health coverage, or it's through partnerships with insurance companies, or creating another way of in the environment to provide and ensure that the innovative medicines are accessible to the wider population. Ultimately, with the rising burden of non-communicable diseases in India,
Right.
an aging population, the scale of our healthcare challenges is going to be massive. And to achieve the aspiration of our Prime Minister of Viksit Bharat, it all needs to happen in a short period of time, that we need to ensure that we all work together as collaborative partners, whether it's pharma, it's startups, it's policymakers, it's government, it's HCPs. All the ecosystems have to come together to drive from a volume-based to a value-based system, where the healthcare is measured not by the amount of pills we sell, but the amount of impact we make on lives of patients.
From a policy perspective, Amitabh, how do you see the government and industry working together?
Again, a very interesting question. When I look at the policy landscape, Asavri, there are four critical elements where the government and industry can work together to shape the next couple of decades. The first one is creating what I call as a fearless environment to do R&D. If we truly want to innovate in India, and we want innovative drugs coming out, and we should be world-class in innovation, we need a robust private-public partnership and targeted innovation-linked incentives that the government needs to provide by creating also an environment where innovative ecosystem can flourish. Let's be candid here. True innovation requires a very robust intellectual property protection as well as regulatory data protection.
Absolutely.
Without these two, we are half-heartedly entering into an innovative ecosystem. India needs to improve its ranking globally into the international IP index. Hence, if we want to do R&D, we need to create an ecosystem supported by intellectual property and an RDP. The second one, which I want to bring across, is that if you get innovation out in India, you need to have speed of access. You cannot have an innovation coming in and access to people after 3, 4, 5 years.
Well said.
It's going to compromise on the innovation quality that you are bringing into the country. So speed of access, policies which support access are going to be the second need where industry and government can do a lot from partnership perspective. Third is going to be a clear change of mindset. And there we have to move from cost plus to a value plus. And we have to focus on a value-based healthcare. This will require a massive cultural change.
Absolutely.
Because when you look today, the mindset has always been a cost plus approach. And when we are looking at a healthcare where we are going to value the impact more than the cost, it would require a drastic change from the way we operate. And finally, the fourth one, which I believe is going to be very, very important, is harnessing the power of digital in the Indian ecosystem.
Absolutely.
We can accelerate innovation, R&D, access, and value-based healthcare if we use AI and digital in our approach to address the unmet need.
Very well said, Amitabh. That what would now, coming to the closure of this podcast, what would be that one message that you would want to share with our audience?
First of all, thank you so much for this wonderful podcast, Asavri. From me, there are three things which are going to be extremely important. The first one I want to clearly say that India is entering into the most defining decade as far as pharma healthcare is concerned. Next decade will decide whether we are going to be a global player in pharma ecosystem or we'll continue to be a manufacturing hub for pharmaceutical products.
Very true.
Correct. We have already showed to the world that we are the world's best generic suppliers.
Absolutely.
We have shown during COVID that we produce almost 60% of the global vaccines in India.
Yes.
The next decade will define whether we are an innovation powerhouse or not. And that's where our energy has to go. And every one of us together in the ecosystem has to come together to define the most promising decade in the Indian pharma ecosystem. The second most important thing for me, and which I want to let the audience know, is the power of partnerships which OPPI is running in their 60th year. Partnerships will be the real growth engine in the Indian healthcare ecosystem. No single player can win alone. Hence, all stakeholders, as I've said earlier, whether it's pharma, whether it's biotech, whether it's startup, whether it's insurance, whether it's academia, whether it's regulators, it's policymakers, everybody has to come together to collaborate, keeping the patient in the center and driving the impact to the patients. And the last one, innovation delivers the best results when it's accessible to all. And for access, we need to ensure that we harness the power of digital, we work together with various stakeholders, and we have an opportunity to make India healthier. When you look at Indian healthcare ecosystem, we suffer, our population, which is the working class, is the most affected by non-communicable diseases.
Absolutely.
If India wants to be an economic powerhouse, needs to deliver growth, we need a healthy population. And innovation, access, and power of digital are going to be three clear elements or pillars which will drive the economic growth of healthy India.
All right. Very quickly then, what's your favorite book?
I don't have one favorite book. I have many favorite books. My favorite writers are John Grisham and Robin Cook from that side. But the books that I have read and I liked is Jim Collins' Good to Great. Then the second one is Built to Last by Collins and Powell's. The third one, which I'm reading currently, and I just loved it, it's something known as Hidden Potential by Adam Grant, which talks about something which I said was one of my principles while leadership decision, that you don't grow in comfortable environments.
Right.
You grow
Right.
when you are stretched and when you are in an uncomfortable environment.
Great. Very quickly, your favorite film?
It depends on the phase I was in. When I was a kid, my favorite film was Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar.
Ah, yes,
Correct?
of course.
I loved that movie. And then when in the last couple of years, when you look at it, I liked Three Idiots. That was a movie that I liked Chak De.
Okay.
And then there was one movie which was very out of the box, but I just loved it, and that was Chini Kam. correct? And if you talk about today's time, there are some out-of-the-box movies which I liked. One was The 12th Fail.
Right. Sure.
I love that story. Then there was that Lapata Ladies. And if you want a commercial one, I just love Dhurandhar 1 and 2. Which
Oh,
is
wow.
recently.
Very, very different canvas, but thank you for sharing that. How would you unwind?
So there are generally two ways I unwind. One, if I really want to unwind into and have a relaxed way, I love cooking. And the second way I generally tend to unwind is either read or watch a series or movies. It depends on how much time I have. If I've got a short time, I prefer reading. If I've got a longer time, I unwind watching a series or a movies on my iPad or television.
Nice. And if you hadn't been in pharma, what would you have done? Where would you have been?
Either of the two. If I would not have been in pharma, either I would have been in academics, because science was something which used to drive me, and as I said earlier, the impact that I could create on people through science was something which motivated me. And if that was not the line, then I would have entered into cooking and I would open a restaurant, because I just love that part.
How interesting.
Means I always have a dream to have a restaurant. Means that is something which is always at the back end. Someday maybe I will do that, but I do not know.
Very nicely said. Thank you so much, Amitabh, for joining in.
Thank you, Asavri. It was wonderful talking to you, and it was a fantastic interaction that we had.